here for CAA football, the Blitz, as we continue.
And he may go the distance. Terrence
You're going to put yourself in a situation and win a lot of football games.
We are halfway through the 2012 college football season. Scott Meyer, I'm Bobby Broyles for CAA Football The Blitz, and we are here today to get you ready for another exciting upcoming weekend of action around the league. Scott, like I said, we're at the midway point. Every game becomes bigger than the last, and this is the time of year we look at the win column for a lot of our teams. In the past few seasons, it seems that the number has been lucky number 7 for teams out of the CAA to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right there. 7-4 is kind of the record that our coaches and our players and across the country you look at as being that mark that normally the selection committee looks at those as being on the bubble. Out of our league, though, 7-4 is more likely to get you in as opposed to a 7-4 team, maybe in the Big South, NEC, places like that. But think about this weekend. Two teams, Maine and Towson, both 3-loss teams. Towson maybe not so much with the schedule that it's played, but the loser already at 4 losses, back against the wall mentality. Also think about the Richmond, New Hampshire game, both 2-loss teams there. That loss gets them to 3, and then you're kind of almost playing for your playoff life in that scenario.
Well, the drama will continue to unfold this weekend, but before we look ahead, let's take one more look back at the highlights and players of the week for week number 6 around CAA football.
A pair of teams with playoff aspirations squared off on the national stage as the JMU Dukes played host to the Towson Tigers on the NBC Sports Network. Second quarter, JMU up 3-0. Towson quarterback Grant Enders looking to the sideline, but is intercepted by Dean Marlowe. That would lead to another JMU field goal as the Dukes go to the half up 6-3. We pick it up late in the fourth. After a long Towson drive, it is Enders with the fake toss and has room to run and takes it in from 7 yards out for the touchdown. The Tigers take their first lead of the game 10-6. The Dukes would answer, led by quarterback Justin Thorpe, who makes one guy miss and sees daylight. Thorpe dives into the end zone for the touchdown. JMU back on top 13-10 with under a minute and a half remaining. One last shot for Towson. Enders looking across the middle, but is picked off, and once again it is Dean Marlowe coming away with it, this time with the game-ending interception, and the JMU Dukes hold on to knock off Towson 13-10. Two teams looking to bounce back this week as the Maine Black Bears paid a visit to the Delaware Blue Hens. Opening drive, Maine quarterback Marcus Wasilewski connects with DeMar Altman, and Altman breaks a couple of tackles and scores from 22 yards out to give Maine a 7-0 lead. Delaware would answer as quarterback Trent Hurley finds Nigel White down the sideline inside the 15-yard line for 13 yards. Delaware would settle for a field goal to make it 7-3 Maine. Second quarter, after a Maine safety, it's Wasilewski. Quick pass across the middle to Altman, and Altman does the rest as he races down the sideline for 15 yards for his second touchdown of the game to give the Black Bears a 16-3 lead at the half. In the third, Wasilewski throws his third touchdown pass of the game, this time to Maurice McDonald, and the Black Bears in complete control up 23-3. The Maine defense would take over. Hurley gets upended inside the 10-yard line, but loses the football, and Maine's Dante Dennis picks it up and returns it 64 yards. Maine's defense would finish with 9 sacks and 2 turnovers as the Black Bears upset Delaware 26-3 in Newark. Offensive Player of the Week goes to New Hampshire running back Nico Storetti, who rushed for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 11 carries, in addition to snagging his first career touchdown reception as the Wildcats knock off Georgia State 44-21 in the Georgia Dome. Defensive Player of the Week goes to Maine defensive end Michael Cole, who registered 5 sacks and a forced fumble as the Black Bears upset Delaware 26-3 in Newark. Special Teams Player of the Week goes to James Madison kicker Cameron Stark, who converted a career-high 49-yard field goal as part of a 2-field-goal first-half effort in the Dukes' nationally televised win over the Tigers. Rookie of the Week goes to James Madison defensive lineman Alex Mosley, who turned in a career-high 7 tackles and forced a fumble in the Dukes' 13-10 win over Towson.
The second half of the CAA football season begins this Saturday, and we'll start in Durham with the noon kickoff on the Comcast Sportsnet regional networks as two 4-2 teams square off as the Richmond Spiders take on the New Hampshire Wildcats.
Yeah, certainly this matchup looks to be exciting. I think you take a look at what Richmond was able to do at Villanova, and their prolific offense, kind of diverse if you ask Coach McDonald, and previewing that game. Also New Hampshire running the ball. I think if you take a look at Richmond's defense, leading the nation with 11 interceptions, are they going to try to force New Hampshire to throw the ball a little bit more, given that Sturridge and Owens both go over the 100-yard mark there against Georgia State last week? This one is going to be an exciting matchup. Richmond basically in its resurgence, New Hampshire trying to get back to those playoffs as they always do.
Then at 3:30, the Villanova Wildcats, looking to bounce back from that loss at home to Richmond, will hit the road to take on the undefeated Old Dominion Monarchs.
Yeah, certainly another one of those games that Old Dominion kind of looks at to see what's going to happen. Villanova, I think if you talk to Coach Talley, thinks that maybe the loss was almost beneficial for his young team. Maybe a way to correct some things and get things going in the right direction. I know that Villanova is looking forward to playing in an atmosphere like they get at Norfolk. And then also take a look at the Old Dominion side. Can Taylor Heineke go up against a different type of defense than they're normally going to see? 3 down linemen, whether that blitz is coming from one direction or the other. That's going to be a key matchup to look for in this game.
Then at 7 o'clock, it will be two teams that reached the playoffs last season that may be pushing that panic button a little bit, sitting at 2-3 as the Towson Tigers play host to the Maine Black Bears.
Yeah, I don't know so much about a panic button, maybe more so for Maine, but I think Maine is trying to figure itself out still. I think Coach Cosgrove was happy with the way they played against Delaware, and building off of energy from each other across the team. Certainly Towson 2-3 right now, but it's played 2 FBS schools, so I think you can rely on that kind of thing coming from their schedule. They played well against James Madison, just didn't have enough offensively to get the job done.
Here's a look now at the rest of this weekend's action around CAA football. Fans, remember to log on to CAAfootball.com for all the latest information going on around the league. Also, check out our blog at CAAfootballblog.com, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. For Scott Meyer, I'm Bobby Broyles. We'll see you right here next week on The Blitz.